Some of the most acclaimed and beloved sci-fi films of all time came out of the 1980s, but at the same time many went unnoticed, or were simply forgotten. And perhaps one of the most unique and original was 1988's Alien Nation, that would spawn a beloved short-lived TV series, both of which have largely been forgotten by most, despite their themes and subtext still being very relevant today. Greetings all you movie junkies and entertainment lovers, and welcome to another retrospective video. Today we're going to be talking about Alien Nation.
The newcomers have arrived. They have their own customs, their own mysteries,
Slagtown, I hate this place.
and their own crimes.
My fellow newcomers will work very hard to make as much money as they can to give to me.
The film takes place in an alternate 1990s, where in 1991 a ship of enslaved aliens escape from their homeworld, landing in the Mojave Desert, where they are given refuge by the US government. Then, 3 years later, the aliens, now dubbed Newcomers, have been fully integrated into the city of Los Angeles, with one of them, George Francisco, played by Mandy Patinkin, being the first of his kind to become a detective on Earth, and ends up being partnered with a human cop, Matthew Sykes, played by James Caan, who is slightly bigoted against the newcomers as one of them brutally murdered his former partner. Together, they attempt to track down the manufacturers of a drug that is designed to re-enslave the newcomers.
Sykes, here's your new partner.
My true name is Stangya Sorens Sorens, well, Gesundheit.
Originally released in 1988, Alien Nation was a modestly successful film at the time, making over $32 million against a $16 million budget. But like a lot of great science fiction, Alien Nation does a really great job at mirroring real-life society problems and smartly addresses discrimination issues, with James Caan's character of Matthew Sykes being forced to find common ground with his newcomer partner, George. Sykes is not made out to be particularly lonesome, just somewhat ignorant and angry because of his partner dying early in the film. At first, Sykes is very aggressive and cynical towards George, but over the course of the film, Matthew begins to become more trustful of him as he perhaps realizes that George and the newcomers are more human than he initially thought. The drug-running storyline is perhaps not the most original part of the film, but it works well enough as the true highlight of the film is the great bond and chemistry between the two main characters that grows over the course of the runtime, as well as the great discrimination subtext throughout. Now, some may criticize the film for not delving a little deeper into that subtext, but the reason it works well here is specifically because they chose to use the buddy cop formula essentially as a delivery system for that context. Overall, Alien Nation is a great and effective sci-fi thriller that still deserves a lot more praise and appreciation to this day. But although Alien Nation never received a true sequel, it did soon get its own short-lived TV series adaptation, which was made as a very loose sequel to the events of the film, with Gary Graham and Eric Pierpoint taking the roles of Matthew Sykes and George Francisco. The series for the most part does a great job at taking everything that was established in the film and expanding on it in various ways, with a large portion of the series focused on the other members of George's family and how adjusting to their new life on Earth has affected their lives, with equal time being spent on Sykes trying to adjust to a new culture that he doesn't understand, with the series overall delving a lot deeper into the themes of discrimination and xenophobia that were much more subtextual in the original film. And it's because of those expansion of elements from the film that many find this series to be superior. But for me personally, I still slightly prefer the original film, most likely because I saw it before I watched the series, as well as just being a little more partial to the film's characterizations of Matthew and George. But overall, the series is pretty much as good as it gets when it comes to TV adaptations of movies. My only real complaint being that some of the ways that they tried to expand on the religion of the newcomers felt a little heavy-handed in my humble opinion, with one too many episodes focused on weird religious cults gone awry. But although the series was very well received at the time, it sadly was cancelled after only one season. But fortunately, the cast of the series would return a few years later for several made-for-TV movies that continued the story, and with only a little bit of slight retconning to resolve the cliffhanger of the series, the movies do a pretty good job at continuing to explore many of the same themes as in the series. And although the series overall unfortunately never got a proper ending, it is slightly hinted that the Newcomers will eventually be fully accepted into society. And since the end of the series, Alien Nation has developed a bit of a cult following, with several other newer sci-fi films taking very clear influence. But Alien Nation itself has laid dormant, with multiple attempts over the past few years to do a reboot on both the small and big screen. But perhaps the most unfortunate part of the franchise's hibernation is the scarce availability of both the original movie and series, mainly due to Disney's purchase of 20th Century Fox several years ago, that sadly has Alien Nation as well as several other franchises left hanging in the balance when it comes to availability, with both the movie and series now being very difficult to find on home media. So if a reboot does come to fruition in the near future, hopefully the original movie and series will at the very least be made available on Disney+. Overall, Alien Nation in a way sadly is still very relevant today, but at the same time that's also what makes it still worth watching today as well. Thanks for watching this retrospective video. Be sure to subscribe for more videos, and until next time be sure to consume as much entertainment as humanly possible, and I'll see you in the next video.